In the wild western wastelands of the Great White North, two gay lefty scumbags embark on an endless pursuit for the true meaning of wokeness. This is Woke in the West. Happy Pride Month!
Wow.
Woke in the West, Episode 3, Pride Edition! Woohoo!
June, it's a month of pride, protests, and... Well,
Palestine.
we'll get there.
Yes, we got a lot to talk about. A lot has happened in the past couple of weeks.
We did skip a week.
Yeah, we did.
It's worth acknowledging.
Yes,
just
we did.
So you know.
Yeah.
We're posting with relative frequency, but, sometimes, as they say in the industry, shit happens.
Yes,
so.
Shit does happen, and shit did happen, but we don't have to talk about that here.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So, yes.
We're stronger for it.
Yeah. So let's get some stuff underway. Let's try to do this before we die of frickin' heat exhaustion in this little metal box of a room that I've got here. Canada first! And here is our beloved new Prime Minister, hauling the flag.
Hyper-inclusive.
See, he does care!
Wow.
Yay!
Sneaky!
Well, I mean, funny you should bring that up because one of the first things we're going to talk about is Mark Carney's big, beautiful border bill. He's got his own border bill here now.
Bill C-2 is the first piece of legislation put forward by this minority liberal government. And it is atrocious. It's awful, and it's so bad that the Conservative Party doesn't really have a leg to stand on to complain about it because it's so draconian that they should be falling over themselves to vote for it. But maybe we can embarrass Carney with this conservative coded legislation and allow it to, or not allow it to pass his very first piece of legislation.
Yeah, this is garbage legislation here.
Yeah, so this is a screenshot from everyone's favorite platform, and it says... Every Canadian needs to read how insane this bill is. It allows Canada Post to open any mail, and this is true. And we're talking about like domestic mail, like the stuff that's not even coming in to the country, but stuff within the country in itself. Allow police to get your IP address without a warrant. So this is like to monitor online activity. Allows police to ask digital service providers to hand over your personal data and protects them from being sued. So yeah, it's taking the responsibility away from corporations or like people like maintaining privacy to extend and expand police powers. For what reason?
This is all ostensibly supposed to be for the border, like for illegal immigration, by the way. But they're not going to just use it for that. They're 100% going to use it on citizens.
I called it Bill C-2, but most people will know it by its like name, which was the border bill, the strong borders bill is what he's officially titled it. So I guess he's really trying to get some of the Trump cred there, but anyway, and this bill also makes it nearly impossible for asylum seekers who have been in Canada for more than a year to have their cases heard, pushing them underground. I gotta say, I'm really not impressed. Not a good first piece of legislature to be trying to push through the House of Commons. It's a shame. I think that Carney's focus and his strengths are really going to prove to be the economy first and only the economy, because it seems like when he's trying to do anything else, he is I don't know. He's got a lot of bad people putting thoughts in his head, words in his ears, but he's acting so much like a conservative that our beloved boy Pee Pee Poo Poo is kind of out on a limb right now. He's supposed to have a seat handed to him in this by-election in Battle River Crowfoot, but it's he's not the most popular right now. Have you seen he's had like what is it? He's trying to have like little media events at his own place, and it's like
the place that he's not supposed to be in.
Yeah, and he's just like talking. He's not even in the House of Commons. It's kind of silly.
Yeah, I've seen a lot more of Andrew Scheer recently than I've seen of.
He's the temporary.
Pierre's just kind of retreating into his cave.
Party head. Yeah,
just kind of spouting nonsense.
Pierre's just trying to stay relevant.
Yeah.
He's gone back to the social media COVID days, basically, of strategy right now because he doesn't have a platform. He's not in office.
Yeah. Yeah, what happened to Elbows Up? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, what happened to Elbows Up? Anyway, this is a really good article that we have on screen right now from readtheorchard.org. It's just a Canadian perspective on Mark Carney's capitulation towards the conservative causes and making himself indistinct from what would have been a conservative government, except that obviously Poilievre was incompetent because the platform was bullshit.
Yeah.
But Here in this article, the guy has a Liberal campaign flyer pinned to his office wall with some of, Carney's promises protecting your rights. Well,
I bullshit. I'm calling bullshit
opening
right now.
my mail is not actually protecting
that's
my
a strong
rights.
violation of my rights,
So,
actually.
you know what? I don't want to say it, but, if this bill really gets bad, people should probably get in the streets about this.
I'm actually strongly considering, phone calling Ron McKinnon, my local MP or something.
Yeah, I don't want to have to talk to Zoe Royer because she's awful, but she's the representative for my hometown in Ottawa, so if she's a Liberal backbencher, maybe she can say something.
And you just know the Conservatives are going to be so smug about this bill, being like, "Oh, we told you Mark Carney was evil," as if they wouldn't just make an exact same bill just like this.
They're not doing that. They haven't really. If anything, they're saying it's too light. God. They're pushing that it needs to be worse. But we don't have a voice now on the far left, so to speak. Not as though the NDP has done a great job there.
Now I can see the regret setting in of the destruction of the NDP. Maybe we do need them after all.
Yep, and it sucks that they don't have a leader right now. People like Wab Kinew, but then also in the news was the vice president of the NDP party in Manitoba quit because he says Wab Kinew is going a little too populist. So there's dissent even within the NDP's already fractured ranks, and even when they perform well in Manitoba, there's dissent within the ranks. So goddamn, guys, can we just create a cohesive movement for the left, please? Because look at what's happening.
Apparently, we got to be dragged through the mud a little bit more before we come to our senses.
Man, I like that this article has this picture of the Liberal frickin' flyer up on the guy's office wall that says literally protecting your rights, making life more affordable. How about we build the houses before we think about opening each other's mail?
Yeah, you get your priorities straight, Mark. Come on, Merk.
Just a thought, Merk.
Merk.
Get your shit together, boy. Yeah.
Gross, disgusting.
But, it's his first time in office, so he needs to be, tied to the whipping post a little bit.
Okay, so we're going to shift to something that's a little bit more positive. A little bit
legislation
better.
In Canada. Yes. Senator Kim Pate. I'm being generous in assuming it's probably said like that and not Pate.
Pate. Yummy.
Yeah, Kim Pate. That's French, right? Just introduced
Kim Pate.
Bill S-206, a new push for basic income in Canada. And I sent an article to you, Eric, about this. And it's incredible that no one is talking about this. Finding a news organization that reported on this was quite hard. But yeah, so
man, journalism in Canada is just dead. They're not reporting on any of the important stuff. They're just reporting on Trump, basically. Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to ignore it, really, what's going on in the States, which we'll get to.
Yeah, but domestic affairs should be given equal, if not more, airtime, because that's what matters to your day-to-day life, not the whims of an authoritarian dictator south of the border from here. American news isn't all about Mexico.
I mean, sometimes it is.
No, it's just about the invasion.
If you go on Fox News
of Mexicans. It's different.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically, basic income bill proposed in the Canadian Senate. In the article I sent you, what was the name of it? The investment exam or something.
Something like that.
To surmise it for people that aren't as caught up on the lingo, it basically just means that once you are an adult or at a certain age, in this specific bill, the age of 17, you will be given some income just because you've filed with the government that you're a person that exists in this country and you deserve help to get ahead, and the government is going to redistribute wealth from hopefully higher
right people,
corporations and the like.
Yeah,
the right people that are supposed to be paying their fair share of taxes. Yes, but this bill was introduced before in 2021. It reached the Senate Standing Committee and was going to National Finance, but then Parliament was prorogued. So it would be nice to see this get enacted. There's some numbers in this article too.
Annual income of $16,000 for individuals, couples $24,000. Costs $87.6 billion per year.
I think that is super low.
Yeah, honestly,
that's
way
not
too
very
low.
Much. I have said, I think I said this during my campaign for the Green Party, but I think that if there's going to be a universal basic income thing, it should probably be input with at least $50,000 as the minimum, like for a
Wow,
salary.
that's pretty bold. Even I'm raising my eyebrows at that.
Yeah. Well, the Green Party's
it makes sense.
The Green Party's official platform is 40,000. But having just filed my taxes, I know that I wouldn't have made that, and I'm already freaking struggling, and I live on my own here, just in like Vancouver. So I'm from
really
a personal standpoint would say 50,000 would at least include more people that are probably still struggling.
I'm really lucky. My situation is unique because I pay really low rent, live in low income housing. So
yeah, you got a good deal,
a very good
in.
deal that I don't want to
grandfathered in.
spoil. Yeah.
But yeah, this bill is a move in the right direction, so it's great to see that they're talking about it. And honestly, maybe with a cap or like a a threshold of like 16,000 or whatever the really low number is here.
16,
I mean, maybe it's kind of trying
24
to like
for couples. It should be 24 like base minimum or 25,000 for like.
That's so low.
I know.
Yeah, that's a bummer. But the article also talks about how in communities where this is implemented, poverty rates do fall by like 49%, and 40% of people are better off because when you are given free money without having to prove anything except that you're a living person that exists in this country, the chances that you're going to be able to do something with this money that you couldn't have done otherwise are exponential. And what does that mean? It means maybe you start a small business, maybe you start a family, or you start saving towards one day having a home. Maybe you just go on a vacation. But the point is that when we are living in a this kind of capitalist hellhole that we're living in right now, late stage capitalism, it's the flow and the transfer of goods and money is what drives commerce and GDP. So it doesn't matter how, if anything, the worst case scenario for a government, if they give you free money, is that you save it.
Yeah.
Because you're not spending it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but when you use the money you're given, people are more likely to use it, right? It's not like you're, that's what, like rich people are always like, you can't give people free money because they're not going to want to work. Like, you think anyone's going to be able to pay all their bills with like $1,000 a month?
I think it incentivizes people to. That was my phone going off, by the way. It incentivizes people to look for work that they're more passionate about. Exactly. I think
you're not working to live as much.
Yeah, it encourages people to work based on more on their interests. Yep. Right. They do a bit more soul searching before they decide
people
to have
feel
a career path
free
because they don't have that pressure to like start making money
freer.
Right away.
Yes.
And also look at this article that says, while the poorest 40% would be better off, 60% of households will be marginally worse off. Now, most people will see that and they'll have a heart attack, right? Mm-hmm. But we're talking marginally worse off. So it probably, you wouldn't even really notice it, I would think.
60% of households would be marginally worse off. Well, I think that it's because they're talking about eliminating a variety of tax credits to make this happen. Mm-hmm. So they're saying that maybe there would, I don't know, is there some sort of family tax credit where if you make 50 grand to 100 grand, maybe you get some sort of percentage off your taxes? Mm-hmm. Are they saying that that's the kind of thing that they'll eliminate to make this
have to sacrifice one
UBI
thing
happen?
For the other, maybe?
Okay. Well, why do we have to sacrifice anything? Why can't you guys just do this a little bit better? But it's the thought that counts.
This is a
can't
start.
Be choosers.
It's a start.
I'm also still thinking about when Jack Layton said abolish the Canadian Senate. So, I appreciate Katie Pate, whatever your name was, in the Senate for proposing this legislation that's really half-baked and lacking in the support that we really need as a people right now in this country. But, good start.
Hey, you know what? 16 grand a year is better than nothing.
Well, you have to make, or that's like the...
That's like the lowest one.
Yeah.
That's what it said for individuals, I think. And then 24,000 for families. Yeah.
Oh,
not great, but...
It's a start. And that's more than we can say is happening to the Bay, which is dead.
Yes. Rip the Bay.
Is your life any different now that a 355-year-old entity has ceased existing?
I mean, I will no longer see their logo on the side of a mall and think the B was a G and think it said the gay.
This was anymore. This was like
so that makes me a little sad.
This was like Canadian Disney, if you think about it like that. But the
Bay
is dead.
More than you came for at the Bay.
I'm hoping the Canadian government gets their share of the historical artifacts of significance that are going to come out of this bankruptcy. I know they were trying to sell the one of the founding charters of Canada and the company.
Who bought the name of the bay, by the way? I think
Canadian Tire did.
Oh God! So they own the right. So it's just reduced to a name and nothing else. Just the brand name Hudson's Bay.
I know that they acquired some aspects of the Hudson Bay Company, but
I think the most engaging part of this for me is when we would constantly go to the Hudson's Bay by your house because we kept trying to get a couch. that was like 80%
as their
off.
doors were closing, looking at the percentages on the furniture tick up from 50, 60, 70, 80% off. The only couch left at the end was one of the ones that had like giant gashes in the cushions for some reason.
Yeah.
Someone just came by with like Wolverine claws and slashed up this poor piece of furniture,
Yeah.
which otherwise would have been okay, but yeah.
That should be like 90% off at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, rip the Bay.
No, it's R.I.P. HBC.
Wow.
But
rip book.
Rip a book.
Rip a book.
And I really hope that we get something cool to replace this giant 2-story like mall anchor. Hey,
Bring back the Rainforest Cafe.
Are there like bots listening to this? Because if there are, round one, you, the corporation that exists in America, Japan, and South Korea, what the hell are you doing not being in Canada yet? We need you. We need a mall-based entertainment place that is not derived off of liquor sales like we have with the stupid Cineplex, what's that one called? The Rec Room? Yeah, that one sucks.
The Rec Room, yeah.
The Rec Room in the Lower Mainland in Canada really sucks because it's got this same like barcade, which is one of my least favorite
I went to
words.
the Rec Room in Toronto, and it was
as an adult it's fine, but it's not an all ages space, and I'm looking for more of a neutral space, and I just don't like the bar vibes of the Rec Room. Round one is an arcade first. You've got bowling alleys, you've got claw games, you've got karaoke rooms, sometimes I think axe throwing in like its own area. You've got, pool tables. Round one, when you're there in the US, you could like spend a whole day there and then you go eat at the mall if you want, or you eat at the little, kind of place that they got it inside the Rec Room. But yeah, it's a shame. But hopefully they will listen to this. Google, someone please tell them. Please get in contact with the Rec Room and tell them to take advantage of all these big empty spaces in our malls in the Lower Mainland and BC and Canada. Please. But neighboring BC, we're still in Canada for this
I just wanted to
segment.
rip on Danielle Smith a little bit.
Yeah, Alberta has apparently started purchasing U.S. alcohol and gambling machines again, just months after the
It's
elbows
almost
up.
like that whole thing was just a virtue signal.
Wow.
It's almost like Alberta didn't actually care.
I'm really glad to see virtue signal as a term starting to come back,
Yeah.
I get picked on and ragged on for saying SJW sometimes, but to see virtue signal actually coming back, it's like, I think now people know what it means. Because we're using it on conservatives now.
Yeah, because they do it all the fucking time.
And it's not just a way to be like, oh, you just got pwned, you virtue signaling SJW. It's like, okay, these are not just like what we assume are insults, but we know what they mean now. Meanwhile, in Ontario.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Measles making a comeback. Woo!
Even here in Canada, 6 infants were born with congenital measles in Ontario from unvaccinated mothers. This is not great, obviously. I don't really know what you do with measles when you're born with it.
I don't know.
Put them
in one of those little glass chambers.
You'd have to imagine that these are probably like, there's a high chance that these are babies that are like coming from sort of Amish, or like those sorts of communities that are a little bit disconnected. I mean, I can't say that for sure, but that's where we know a lot of the cases have been happening lately.
An infant born prematurely died in southwestern Ontario. Oh my god!
Oh, one already died. Wow.
The infant also faced serious other medical implications. 40 pregnant people have been infected with measles in Ontario, and only 2 were vaccinated.
Whoa.
Wow. Yeah, not great.
Yeah. Born too late to discover any land, born too early to discover any planets and stars. Right. But
so this is a little transition.
Born in just the right time to see measles come back.
Yes. So this is a little transition thing that we wanted to bring up before we talk about the rest of the world, because there's a little funny quote that we saw from Mark Carney. Quote.
Because this house has rules, it has traditions, and it's on those traditions that our Athenian democracy is founded.
Athens, baby.
Yes,
Athens.
we are Athens. They are Rome.
What a nerd!
Because this house
friggin' nerd.
has rules.
Oh, Carney. Carney's starting to, get that sweet spot with Canadians, but he's going to have to start proposing the legislation to back it up.
Yeah, man. I would like this quote a lot more if he didn't have that shitty border bill that's just like, it's like lingering around like a stinky fart. Like, damn.
Athens didn't border Rome.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we'll talk about the rest of the world now.
Yep.
Okay, so
Kicking off Pride Month.
Kicking off Pride Month in true American fashion.
With a hate crime.
With the hate crime, the death of a
Jonathan
homosexual Native American man.
Yes.
Jonathan Joss, the voice of John Redcorn on King of the Hill. Oh my God. And the details are quite grisly in this case.
And it was quite muddy too at first. We were hearing different things from, the police are saying it wasn't a hate crime. And then we have Jonathan Joss's partner online vehemently explaining in graphic detail everything that led up to.
Yeah. So apparently, but before this death even occurred, their house was burned down by neighbors, I suppose. And then when they came back to check their mail, they found the skull of their dog in the front lawn, which, oh my God, I can't even imagine that.
No, that's horrifying. And
then, apparently they were, because I think Jonathan Joss's partner is like a trans guy or something like that. So I guess the neighbor had it especially out for them and was aiming to kill them, but then Jonathan Joss jumped in the way like a true hero. So I just got to say, rest in peace, fallen comrade. You will be missed.
Yep.
And this is just kind of an indication of where the U.S. is going. And I can't believe that, like, literally the first day of Pride Month 2025 just starts like
These
this.
people are emboldened right now, like we've never seen. And that's sort of related to the next we're getting into the rest of the world now, so like the other story of that the metal festival, right?
Oh yeah, that's in there.
It's about people being more willing now to kind of let that ugliness out.
Yeah.
Stuff that we have been societally conditioned to keep in. This is all probably still like going to be studied and found out to be mentally related to like the COVID pandemic and people kind of just the entire breakdown of social norms during that time.
Oh yeah.
Because this is crazy, the speed of which this stuff has been happening.
Yeah, because you've seen how like the last year and the year before how kind of queer I was comfortable dressing in public with the short shorts and the tank tops and stuff, and now I'm a little bit more hesitant to do that. Just even in my hometown.
Well, it was still not America here, and
I know we're still BC, relatively safe in BC. I still get looks every now and again though. Not a good feeling.
I got called a girl at work the other day.
That's hilarious. It's the hair, I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. All right, what else is going on? Let's talk about LA. LA.
Oh, yeah. LA is on fire. What else is new?
Yeah.
So,
but the reason why it's long on this. No, but you know, it's the reason why it's on fire this time is a little different because good old Donald Trump's calling in the National Guard for the immigration riots.
Yeah, to protect the supposed federal employees, he deployed the National Guard for the first time in an American city since LBJ did to protect the Civil Rights March people back in the day. So, what a different time it is now. Here's a little bit of lovely footage of the tear gassing place.
And we were looking at the little bitch fit that Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump are having on social media.
Yeah, that was a cute little online spat.
Yeah, with Donald Trump saying that he called Gavin Newsom, and Gavin Newsom was like, "Nuh-uh." And apparently now Trump is like posting a screenshot saying, like, "Yes, I did in fact call you."
Yeah, but it was 3 days ago, which isn't the day before or the day before yesterday.
So yeah, gotta love the slow march of fascism. But then we get cool dudes like this.
Yeah, what happened to you, cool
you told
man
me you got caught
shades.
up in the tear gas as well. Describe what happened to you.
Oh, just tasted a little tear gas. Tasted like fascism.
Well, you told me you got caught up.
Delivered like a true Los Angelino.
Yeah, so, I mean, I hate to say this, but a little part of me is just kind of like, well, that's just LA for you. But no, at the same time, this is pretty serious because, you know, Donald Trump doesn't mess around.
Yeah, and like I think the other big thing is that the state governor, Gavin Newsom, specifically didn't want the National Guard there. He believed the LA police would be able to handle it on their own. And so it was just kind of Trump fanning the flames of potential violence again, taking advantage of a situation so that he can push the narrative, and the Republicans can continue to push the narrative that blue states are the worst and so dangerous, even though all the Republican senators who keep taking shots at Gavin Newsom online are in states with higher murder rates per capita than California.
Yeah.
So it's like they're completely tone deaf, and their constituents are also so stupid that they're not self-aware enough to see through their own bullshit that their side is producing, because these are just raw numbers here. Gavin Newsom posted
Nice little
as well.
tweet here, yeah.
This is my favorite post from the whole showdown online. Was all the National Guard just like sleeping on the floor in various
This is how Donald
places.
Trump is treating the troops.
You sent
right
them
here.
here without fuel, food, water, or a place to sleep. And I'd heard that there were like 2,000 deployed. 300 were given a specific like mission, and the 1,700 didn't have an order.
They didn't know what the hell
So
they were
just
doing.
there. Great incompetence on display from the Trump admin, which honestly, I don't know if it's just the speed of the recent events in like the last week or so, but it feels like, I don't know, like Trump's not going to finish this 4-year term. Something about it is,
I don't know.
I don't know if we can go this fast forever. And I don't know what'll happen. I don't know if he'll push too far. We'll end up in like a martial law situation, and like 5 Republican senators will develop a conscience and vote against their party, and then maybe there'll be something in the Senate. But whether they end up listening to that, I don't know, because the rule of law has been ignored and degraded so far at this point that, I'm not really sure if that's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. There was another little piece of footage that I don't know if I brought it up here, but it's that Australian reporter that just got shot with a rubber bullet while she's like reporting on the air. Like, you could see the cop in the back. I'll just put it on screen while I'm editing, but you could see the cop like turn and look at her and then just literally fire into her backside while she's on camera.
Yeah, I'm glad.
What the hell is wrong with these people?
They're sick, they're twisted, and they're told to fear for their lives. The cops are told to fear you.
Yeah, if you look at some like American cop training videos, they are insane.
Dystopian.
They're trained to
It's
just
gross.
constantly be on the attack.
And what's even better,
Anyone could
is
stab
that
you at any second.
Some of the American cops too, in particular from the big cities like New York and Los Angeles, they actually send the cops to Israel to train.
Oh, lovely.
Some of them, and as if
Gotta
in
love
Israel,
that.
the only rule in their army is to just basically shoot on sight because everyone else is a terrorist.
Pretty much.
So bring that mentality to America, and anyone could be a terrorist is when you're holding the gun.
Yeah. So we have our favorite clown, co-clown in chief, Mr. J.D. Vance. There's something about his haircut that just really rubs me the wrong way. I don't know what it is. That weird greasy comb over and the goatee, it just looks really weird on him.
He's got like an aged Dennis the Menace look about him.
Yeah.
An incredible space
Okay.
So this is just him
But I make a couple points about this. First of all, I've heard a lot of the criticisms, the fear that we're going to have a brain drain. If you go back to the 50s and 60s, the American space program, the program that was the first to put a human being on the surface of the moon, was built by American citizens, some German Jewish scientists.
Great American citizen, yes. I am from Hamburg, Ohio. Yeah. I will make this rocket
and
for
then
you,
Vance
yes.
is like, Ohio, a countryman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Heinrich,
someone doesn't
Heinrich
know.
von Johnson.
Someone doesn't know where the U.S. got the scientists that ended up becoming NASA.
NASA.
God,
Yeah, that's
I
really
can't.
funny.
I genuinely.
They just
like,
don't know their basic history.
People in my life still tell me like, "Oh, you should go to school to be like a lawyer or whatever." But JD Vance actively makes me wonder and question about the legitimacy of the entire institution, because if
If this guy can pass-
JD Vance can get through that and still be this fucking stupid and like historically ignorant, it has to just be that he's lying, right?
or
Like,
it's all just a scam.
or it's all just a scam. Like,
yeah.
What dates do you have to memorize to pass the bar?
He had enough money that he was just able to coast through law school without actually paying attention.
He
Or
is
maybe he
a
was sucking his teacher's
frickin'
dick. I
weasel,
don't know.
And
man.
he is the future president of the United States.
If something happens to Donald Trump, this dude is going to be the president.
Yeah,
Think
and
about that.
apparently
I almost
people
hate
are
that.
already asking for it.
I almost
in
hate
the
that
inner
more than
circle.
Donald Trump being president. Having this dude as the freaking president.
When was the last time a president had a beard in the U.S.?
Oh God.
Uh-huh.
Probably not since like.
And this is
the
definitely the
1800s.
first. Definitely the first with eyeliner.
Yeah, absolutely. And all that Crisco in his hair
Well,
too.
yep. Give it up for Jams Dance Vance. Thanks.
Damn. Space Jam Vance.
Yep. And the Republicans are really good at getting their messaging together right now. Republican Senator from Iowa, Joni Ernst, really laid it told it like it is. No filter, no PC culture bullshit. You are struggling right now, and she sees you, and she has a comforting message for you. Please hit the audio.
Yes.
1.4, when you are arguing about illegals that are receiving Medicaid benefits, 1.4 million, 1.4, they are not eligible, so they will be coming off. So
People will die.
People are not. Well, we all are going to die.
We're
all going to die.
That's the Republican message from Joni Hearst.
We are all going to die. That would be a good slogan for
one of her
Earth
own
in 2025.
constituents I saw interviewed, that we don't have the clip of, but I saw an interview with one of her own constituents in like Iowa, and she was not even like some Democrat activist, just some like old white lady, and she's like probably a farmer or whatever, and she's just like, yeah, it was really insensitive, and we should just call her Joni Hearst from now on.
Hearst. Wow.
So good one, Joni Hearst. You are dead to America.
Good job.
Like we all will be one day.
Oh, this was pretty funny.
This is just sort of
you got to tell me the background on this
guy named Todd Chrisley, who is recently pardoned by Donald Trump. He's a
what did he go to jail for
Southern folksy, like with his wife had a show, and he went to jail because him and his wife attempted to defraud $30 million, I believe, from like charitable bank causes or something like that. Some crazy fraud situation. And they were in jail like they should have been. And Trump said, you're too white and rich to be in jail. So he pardoned them. And, he had a really sobering experience inside. And when you hear what this man has to say, Todd Chrisley, about his experience in jail and what he saw, advocating
it's pretty eye-opening
for other prisoners, that is interesting. And when you see a lot of these like performative Southern evangelists, like Christian people, on TV, I can understand the skepticism, but you have to hope that there's a good in there somewhere. And if this is what he feels like his second chance coming out of prison to do was, maybe there'll be one good thing out of this administration. But yeah, you can play the clip.
Anyone that says that it's a fair shake, it's not. Because I dealt with young African-American males in the prison that I was in that were not treated the same. They were denied programming. They were denied access to certain things. I was not denied that. But we know why I wasn't denied that. And so I think that is a much bigger picture that we all as a society as a whole need to look at, that we are one. And whether you're Republican, Democrat, or whatever, at the end of the day, when you're in that hospital, you don't care if it's a Democrat treating you or a Republican. Now, some of you may, but I want whoever's going to be the best person to do that. Wow. Anyone that's...
He acknowledged that, some people may care about that, but ultimately it doesn't matter. We're all people. So good for him for finally seeing a bit of humanity.
I was treated differently in prison, and come on, we all know why.
And the thing that he said, too, was young African-American males. So you have to wonder, I guess I wonder about this, kind of rich Southern white dude who went to jail for a white-collar crime, of, like, bank fraud, basically charity fraud, being able to, like, see the treatment of, like, young African-American males. Like, was this guy in Gen Pop, or was he, like... given more of a space in a cell, or was he like...
I don't know.
I'm
his
not
solitary
sure
confinement cell was twice as big as the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, hope that this guy did have a real change of heart. Good luck, Todd Chrisley. Oh, and this was the big event of the last, week. There was a huge tweet that used to exist.
The spat between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Elon, what's wrong with you? What did you do?
So what happened was his term as a government employee ended, so he left the White House. And then the next day he was like, man, I don't want to talk badly about the Trump admin, but the new big, beautiful bill kind of sucks. And then the next day he went fully unhinged on Twitter and posted a whole bunch of tweets, which he now deleted like a little pussy man baby. But the big tweet, the one that amassed, I believe, close to 100 million likes...
Whew.
And was, or something like that, or was viewed 100 million times, was a delightful little tweet where he said that the reason this White House did not release the Epstein files like they promised they would, the reason is because Trump is in them.
Oh my
and we
God.
already knew that.
Yeah, we know.
And
Yeah,
Elon clearly already
Trust
knew
me, Elon, we know.
for a long time, and he was okay helping that kind of person get elected.
Yeah.
So, maybe he
was
a
keeping
bad
those
person.
cards too close to his chest, I guess. I don't know.
But then he ended the tweet by saying, "Have a good day, DJT," which is delightfully sassy. But the tweet has all been deleted now.
Yeah,
Here it is. They're really hoping you'll forget it, because I was just thinking a lot about this today, and there is such a section of like Trump's base on the super far right, the like conservative kind of conspiracy hole people who are foaming at the mouth about this. I don't even think they're in denial, but for them to have now an answer, because there were a lot of people that were mad when the Trump admin was like, "We have the Epstein thing here. It is. It's
all
a binder."
redacted.
Yeah, and it was all
everything.
stuff
Someone
everyone saw before.
someone took a Sharpie to the whole thing.
Yeah, and
It's basically useless.
It was useless. The only things they put out were stuff that was already out there. So they were literally suppressing info. And also, you know what else is making the Trump admin look bad with this particular situation is that when this broke, 2 high-ranking Trump admins were in live podcasting sessions. Kash Patel, the FBI director, was in a podcast with Joe Rogan.
Oh
and
my
Joe Rogan
God.
was reading out the tweets, and Kash Patel is like, "Oh, I'm staying out of this. This is not my lane." And it's like, you're the head of the FBI. Do you not know?
This kind of is your lane, actually. This is exactly your lane.
This is making the Trump admin look so bad, because when they bitch and moan about the deep state,
This
they
is
are
the deep state. This literally is
they are
the deep
in
state.
government. They are suppressing things because it hurts the people in their government. They are the deep state. Period. You can play your conspiracy games, but you already won the election.
Drain the swamp? Bitch, this is the Louisiana Bayou.
Yeah.
We're right in the middle of it.
Drain the swamp.
We got
Let me sell you
gumboots
some
on, bro.
swampland in Florida.
Yeah, bro. Jesus.
Drain the swamp. Mar-a-Lago was already a swamp.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in fucking Florida, yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting.
Never forget.
LA might be
Never
on fire,
forget this.
but America's going to burn if this keeps up, because this is getting really
Oh,
bad.
LA's just the beginning, hopefully.
Hopefully.
But
yeah, there was a punk festival in Las Vegas, I believe it was, and some gentleman decided to wear some bright red Nazi paraphernalia.
with the letters SS painted right on the back here.
Frickin' red.
Oh, there he is. Knocked on his ass. There we
All right,
go.
here we go.
Yeah, you can see the SS like right on his back of the shirt. Ooh, there he goes. Takes a tumble.
You just know that at least the event security has the fucking wherewithal to not be like, yeah, we're going to defend this guy's right to be.
No, they're escorting him out of here. See, we need more shit like... See, the punks know what's up. They've always known what's up.
He made it pretty far into the festival.
Yeah, how the hell did he get that far? He must have had like a... Oh!
Wow, we got fucking...
Get out of our fucking scene! Get out of our fucking scene! Get out of our scene!
Yeah, he must have had like a leather vest on or something to hide the SS. Because like, how did he get past security with that?
Get out! Nazi needs an escort! Get the fuck out! Get out! Fuck you!
Bye-bye. Just, a
Yep.
little bit of catharsis after the horrible tragedy we talked about earlier. We need more of this. More of this, please.
Well, what that would imply is that we need more people publicly declaring that they are Nazis in public so that they can be escorted out. Which, in a way,
that would be nice, though, because it would be easier to
from
find
what we
them.
have now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to, they're not quite wearing the armbands yet. And it would be really helpful, guys. It would be really helpful if you could come up with something so that we could really find you,
Yeah. So
teach you a lesson.
Yeah. So speaking of Nazis, let's talk about Israel for a second here.
Israel has had an illegal siege on Gaza since 2007, not allowing any ships in or out. And several attempts have been made to break it. But the latest was seized in international waters, I think at like 150 kilometers away from the coastline, so not in the Israeli jurisdiction at all.
I remember we were watching the updates as the boat got closer and closer.
Yeah. And we heard when their GPS was getting like comm blocked by Israel and all the technology was starting to fail on the ship. They were getting like a white foam sprayed by like some Israeli drones too onto the boat. Not quite sure what that was, but allegedly it was like it had a bit of a burning sensation to it. So chemical warfare, a favorite of ethno-state failing authoritarian places. But either way, all those activists have more or less been detained and deported now. But
I think that one of the actors from Game of Thrones was also on that boat.
Yes, he was on there. One of the activists that is still in Israel is like a French Palestinian member of parliament in France.
Wow.
Because she refused to sign the deportation order. So she's still in Israel. She's going to go to the court, stand in front of an Israeli judge, and probably still be deported, but in handcuffs. And during the hype, I guess you could say, the hype or the period where people were wondering what's going to happen to this ship of Greta's.
I love it how a lot of people were being like, I hope Israel, shoots the boat down and sinks it or something like.
Yeah, we were all waiting to see if that was going to happen. Like, you're being edgy for it.
Yeah.
But regardless, Israel saw this, what they have now started to call a selfie ship full of celebrities, celebrity party selfie ship or whatever. They found a bunch of Israeli children.
We're looking for Greta's boat.
To
we have
make
something
some
to say to you all.
propaganda.
Are you with me, guys? Yay! We're coming to get you.
Nothing like using children for your
Children
propaganda.
say the truth.
Children say the
Greta
truth.
Thunberg, when you were a
you
child,
can just tell this
you
kid
wanted the good,
memorized the script.
not the evil. You wanted to protect the world. How come you suddenly became a supporter of terror? You talk about genocide. How can you not condemn the horrors of October 7th? If you want to provide food to the people of Gaza,
Also,
I suggest you
the
condemn
way that
Hamas.
he said condemn the
because
horrors
the truth is that
was
Hamas
written
is
by an
taking
adult.
all the food.
Oh yeah,
no child.
absolutely.
Gaza.
There's no way
Not
a kid
Israel.
talks like that.
And what about the hostages? Are you going to
So the
give
kid's
them
just
any
rattling through
food?
the script. But
Yeah,
then
same
I
old
invite
shit.
you to
But
meet
wait.
me, and I will show
I
you
like the
what
end.
the children of Israel are going through. I hope that you will wake up and understand that you're on the wrong side of history. Children always say the truth. And I hope that you will see that.
I love
Children
that this
never lie.
piece of blatant government propaganda
We're the children of Israel.
opens and closes with the kid saying, children always tell the truth.
Children never lie. They
That's
famously
incredible.
always tell the truth.
I love that. And
Children are innocent
that
little
an adult
angels.
wrote that. They are taking advantage of the innocence of these kids for their sick genocide and ethnic cleansing. And it's disgusting. And everyone needs to be paying attention right now, because when they say never again, this is what that's supposed to be for. It means no genocide for anybody. And that means Jews, and it means Arabs, and it means Palestinians. And we got to start putting the pressure.
How about we just don't genocide anybody?
So I guess,
this one needs a little bit of explaining.
Yes, segueing, I guess. There's a commentary guy on Twitter/X who did like a long weird post where he was sort of glazing ice or like being weirdly complimentary, and in doing so kind of admitted that they were here illegally or in America illegally, and then a bunch of people
kind of
on Twitter,
a kidding but not kidding cutaway.
Yeah, and a bunch of people on Twitter on the right particularly were like, "OMG at the FBI, look at this, deport." And so the U.S. government started noticing. People like J.D. Vance did a retweet, but I put this particular one because it's a Spy Kids GIF posted by
the Department of Homeland Security posted a meme
by the DHS Gov Twitter account.
I don't want my federal government posting memes.
This meme does have 144,000 likes. So, people either like deportations or they like Spy Kids.
Look at the absolute state of my government.
Given how Latin Spy Kids is, I don't know if...
yeah, right? The family is literally like Mexican, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, they're very Hispanic. Cortez! Their last name is Cortez! This is a Latin kid! This is a Hispanic child.
It's an actor playing a Hispanic
child.
Yes. I don't think Daryl Sabera is actually Hispanic.
Sabera sounds kind of exotic.
Yes, but not that kind.
No.
Different kind.
And one last thing to end on.
Trump falling up some stairs.
He pulls a Joe Biden. Let's get that again. How much you want to bet that he pooped his diaper over there?
I mean, the big conspiracy, quote unquote, right now is that he has a catheter.
Oh, really?
There's lots of photos that are like, wow, those pants are sure not bending like normal pants. So that's the big theory. So
he's got a tube in his dick,
tripping over his catheter while he walks up some stairs. Normal 79-year-old president happenings.
Wow. All right, let's go into what stuff that we watched.
I wish I may. I wish I might. Have my wish come true tonight.
Disney's The Parent Trap.
All right, so stuff that we watched.
Media.
The Parent Trap. This is one that we kind of watched on. You said that you wanted to check out the cinematography for this movie.
Yeah, I had heard that this was a higher caliber than it needed to be for like a Disney children's film in the 90s, especially with Lindsay Lohan playing a twin.
Lindsay Lohan?
Yeah, and it was beautifully shot. I'll say that.
Oh, yeah.
It felt like it had a lot more care put into it than your average sort of like.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
Family film.
The cast was really good. Just a basic synopsis. So these two twins, both played by Lindsay Lohan, separated at birth, meet each other at a summer camp one fateful summer, and they come to realize that they share the same parents, but their parents split up long ago. So now they got hijinks ensue in order to get these parents back together. And
they
of course,
do in fact switch places.
They switch places. Little trading places action. There's a bitch fiance character played beautifully by that one actress whose name I can't remember, but you know the one. It's that one. Yeah. That bitch. That bitch.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, very well acted movie. Dennis Quaid is in it.
Yes.
We watched him recently in The Substance, so it's nice to know that he's still getting work.
Yes.
But yeah, very well shot film.
Yeah, it's interesting to sort of talk about it mostly from the perspective.
It's a remake, by the way.
It is a remake. It's one of those sort of legacy Disney scripts that they just kind of.
Disney's been doing remakes for a long time.
Yeah, they like to bring it back out every couple decades. I think the first one's from the 50s, right?
Yeah.
So we're due for another Parent Trap in the 2030s. Just if anyone's keeping
so
score.
So what remakes came on the night? There was this. There was the 101 Dalmatians remake.
Shaggy Dog.
Is that a remake?
Yes.
Okay. There was George of the Jungle. Wait, was that a Disney film? I think it might have been. The point is Disney's been doing remakes since time immemorial.
But yeah, Parent Trap was nice. If anything, I felt the length a little bit. I would give it a solid 7, closer to an 8 than a 6.
I would give it a 6 because the length was really starting to drag towards the end.
Length is why
it's like 2 hours plus.
It could have been a lot snappier. It had some shared blood with I think it was like Addams Family 2, or it felt like it. And if it had similar pacing to Addams Family 2, I think it would have been an 8, but it was drawn out just a little bit, maybe, I think, to be a bit trying to lean a
lot of stuff could have been trimmed here and there
because it was leaning more into the parental rom-com side rather than the child humor,
the child hijinks side.
So I think that's why it ultimately dragged just a little bit.
I was expecting a bit more Dennis the Menace, that sequence at the end, spoiler kind of, but that sequence in the end where they take the bitch fiance on that camping trip. I was expecting most of the film to take place there, but it was not even a day.
We jumped from place to place because the girls had to meet at the camp, then they got back to their places, and then we had to go back to somewhere else.
And then they had to bring the fiance on a new camping trip where they humiliate her. And I was expecting some Dennis the Menace style hijinks there. And we got a little bit.
Yeah, there was a little bit of the sort of post Home Alone, you can beat up adults if you're a child.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that, but overall, it wasn't too bad. Yeah. I don't know if I would check out the original because
I don't know if there's
if this remake is that mediocre. I can only imagine how bad the original is.
What is this? CSI KFC?
Yeah, Knives Out! Woohoo! We watched both Knives Out movies.
Yes, the two classic Rian Johnson recent classics.
Yeah, the brainchild of Rian Johnson, Star Wars own Rian Johnson. I really liked this. This reminded me of some kind of Poirot kind of Agatha Christie kind of murder mystery stuff, which is funny because I think Angela Lansbury makes a cameo in the second movie, Glass Onion. You want to talk about the plots of each movie a little bit? I think Glass Onion is a bit fresher in my mind, so I can comment on that one a little bit more.
It's easier to just say that it's a murder mystery, and it's someone in the family or someone hired this detective to investigate what should otherwise just be a simple case of suicide, but it's suspected to not be. And there's a big family dynamic, and they've got to interview all these people and trying to put the story together. There's the housekeeper or the dead guy's personal nurse who has a quirk that she can't lie. So It's
a very interesting quirk, yeah.
It's a very well, I think, fully thought out premise that explores every sort of character. Like, there's some throwaway characters too in the background, like a right-wing troll of a child, a teenager who spends the whole film on his phone, like swatting people and whatever.
Looking at 4chan,
and then there's
probably.
a left-wing liberal, like college arts major person as well,
played by Toni Collette.
Oh, well, that's her mom.
It's her mom, yeah.
Yeah, Toni Collette plays her mom. But this family, it sort of explains how, even though that these people are so, like, divergent politically, at the end of the day, this affluent, rich family can come together in the shared goal of trying to screw over the Latina housekeeper and personal nurse that... Well, no spoilers, but they don't like
in the
her.
center of it all is Daniel Craig's magnificent detective
Craig doing
carrier.
a foghorn leghorn.
I do declare.
Yeah. He does a great job. I love Daniel Craig in these movies.
Great detective character.
Yeah, Knives Out and Glass Onion make a great back-to-back. Yes. I'd give Glass Onion, or I'd give Knives Out probably, I want to say a 9, because it's so close to perfect.
I'd give them both an 8. I would give this one is closer to a 9, Glass Onion. The first one's closer to a 7 for me. I really liked Glass Onion. I like the setting. I like the crazy billionaire, like, private island.
Yes.
And of course, God love the Beatles reference too. But yeah, I love the cast a little bit more in this one. I think Edward Norton is really good. Dave Bautista is always great in everything he's in.
Yeah, that's the really cool thing with these movies is they have such eclectic casts of so many, like, faces you've seen before, but now you're watching them play out a murder mystery, and you're also along for the ride, kind of as the audience, trying to pick up on the pieces. And I think this one it is a little bit more out all in the open. I don't think it's quite as complex as the first one, really.
No.
It's so dumb, as Daniel Craig says in this movie. But yeah, I think I like the first one more as a film. I think the second one is satisfying, more so in a double feature. But I think on its own, I'm not as much of a fan of Glass Onion as the first one.
Yeah, it feels like the kind of movie where, like, even though it is a standalone sequel, it is better if you've seen the first one already.
I would sooner give the first one a 9 than this, but I'd give this an 8 then. But I do like the first one.
So this is a standalone sequel, by the way. The only recurring character is the detective character. Himself. Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's just this character going into different scenarios, like, different Agatha Christie novels or what have you. Different scenario of murder mystery of the week kind of thing. But yeah, both great movies. Okay, so I think that will about do it for this episode. I am sweating my balls off, so I think it's time to open a window and turn the frickin' fan on. This has been Woke in the West. I am Eric.
And I am Nash.
And we will see you next time.
Yes, happy Pride. Have
happy
a good month.
Pride. Woo!
Stay safe.
Go be gay.
In public.
Yes.